Heaven is releasing divine instructions before Thursday. Chosen ones must pause, listen, and align with the spiritual shift that's unfolding. Many people will move through this week unaware of the invisible exchange taking place between heaven and earth, but those who are spiritually sensitive can already sense the weight of it. It's as if the atmosphere is thick with meaning, as if something is waiting to be delivered to those who will make room to receive it. This isn't the time for distractions, arguments, or confusion. It's the time to still your mind and tune your heart to the frequency of God's voice. Because when heaven speaks, it's not through noise or chaos, it's through stillness, conviction, and sudden knowing that enters the soul like light through a window. You may have noticed that certain things around you are no longer holding your attention the way they used to. Conversations that once entertained you now drain you. Environments that once felt familiar suddenly feel foreign. This is not random. The Spirit of God is separating the chosen from the crowd, calling you out of the ordinary and into alignment with a higher purpose. Heaven has been sending subtle signals, a sense of unease in your spirit, a nudge to withdraw, a recurring thought that something is shifting. These are not coincidences, they are early warnings that something divine is about to unfold. When heaven releases instructions, it often doesn't shout. It whispers. The noise of the world is meant to drown out those whispers, to keep you too busy, too anxious, or too entertained to notice what is being said in the spirit realm. But the chosen ones, those who are called to walk in divine purpose, must learn to listen differently. You cannot rely on what you see with your eyes or hear with your ears. The true message comes through discernment and knowing that sits quietly in your soul, unshaken by appearances. That is why heaven often calls its chosen into isolation before revelation. When you are set apart, you can finally hear what has been hidden from the masses. Before Thursday arrives, there will be moments where you feel a pull to be alone, to reflect, to pray, or even to weep without understanding why. Don't resist it. That's your spirit responding to the movement of heaven. There's a reason you feel a divine urgency to slow down, to stop scrolling, to unplug, and to just be still. The instructions you need are being downloaded into your spirit, but if you keep rushing, you'll miss the moment. The spiritual realm is like a frequency that must be tuned into. A slight distraction, a single moment of doubt, can cause static and interfere with what God is trying to say. Right now, heaven is searching for those who are willing to listen without resistance. This message isn't for everyone. It's for those who have been through seasons of confusion, betrayal, and silence, because those are the ones who have learned to recognize God's voice in the dark. When you've been through storms that stripped everything away, your ears become more sensitive to truth. You no longer chase signs, you discern presence. That's the kind of awareness heaven is requiring right now. Before Thursday comes, God is positioning the chosen ones to receive divine direction that will determine their next move. This instruction may not come in the form of words. It might come as peace when you're about to make a decision, or discomfort when you're walking down the wrong path. Heaven's language is often emotional and intuitive. That's why discernment matters more than logic in this season. You might not understand what God is doing, but your spirit does. It recognizes alignment before your mind catches up. Pay attention to those moments when your spirit feels a sudden stillness or an unexpected pull to change direction. That's heaven guiding you silently toward your assignment. In this hour, obedience will open doors that talent and effort cannot. Heaven is not looking for those who are the most skilled, loud, or visible. It's searching for those who are sensitive and surrendered. The instructions coming before Thursday are not meant to impress you, they are meant to direct you. They may seem small, like a simple prompting to reach out to someone, to let go of something, or to prepare for an opportunity you can't yet see. But behind that small instruction is a chain reaction that can shift the entire course of your destiny. Every great move of God begins with a quiet command that few recognize in the moment. There's also a cleansing happening as heaven releases these instructions. The chosen ones are being refined, not punished. Old attachments are being cut, hidden motives are being exposed, and inner wounds are being healed, not because you did something wrong, but because you're being prepared for something greater. You cannot carry yesterday's weight into tomorrow's assignment. Heaven is ensuring that by Thursday, your spirit is light enough to move freely into what's next. Some of the heaviness you've felt recently isn't from the enemy, it's from God removing what doesn't belong in your next chapter. The alignment heaven is calling for requires trust. You might not have all the answers right now, and that's intentional. The instructions are being released step by step because faith is built through dependence. You're being taught to move by revelation, not routine. When heaven gives a word, it's not meant to fit your comfort zone, it's meant to stretch your obedience. That's why many won't hear it, they want control, not calling. But the chosen ones are different. They understand that divine alignment often begins with divine interruption. The next 24 hours are a sacred window of preparation. You may not see the full picture yet, but you'll feel the pull to realign your focus, to purify your intentions, and to strengthen your faith. Heaven is speaking, and the sound isn't loud, it's clear. This is your moment to pause, listen deeply, and allow your spirit to synchronize with heaven's rhythm. This message carries both warning and awakening. Only those tuned to the Spirit will discern the move of God hidden in the stillness. In every generation, there comes a moment when heaven releases a sound that not everyone can hear. It's not thunder, it's not a shout, it's a vibration in the Spirit, a divine frequency that only the chosen can sense. Many will miss it because they're too busy chasing noise, too distracted by the surface of things to notice the sacred silence where God speaks most clearly. But for those who are sensitive, this stillness isn't empty, it's loaded with revelation. God hides his greatest moves in moments that seem quiet, almost uneventful, because he wants only those with discerning hearts to recognize what's really happening. Right now, there's a spiritual transition taking place. Heaven is shifting plans, rearranging timelines, and releasing keys of understanding to those who are spiritually awake. But these keys won't come through signs in the sky, they'll come through whispers in the heart. The warning is this: if you depend only on physical signs, you'll miss the spiritual signals. The move of God won't announce itself loudly this time. It's happening in the background, beneath the surface of ordinary moments, and those who walk closely with the Spirit will be the first to sense it. That's why sensitivity is more important than speed right now. Don't rush ahead. Don't force anything. Just listen. The awakening that's being stirred in the hearts of the chosen ones is both gentle and urgent. Gentle, because it's birthed in stillness. Urgent, because time is moving quickly. Heaven is separating those who are spiritually alert from those who are spiritually asleep. The warning is not meant to instill fear but to activate awareness. There are movements happening that you cannot see, but your spirit knows they're real. That unease you've been feeling, that strange pressure in your chest, that sense that something is coming, it's not anxiety. It's your spirit responding to the divine tension between where you are and where God is calling you next. The stillness that surrounds the season is not emptiness, it's incubation. God is forming something powerful in silence. When you don't see any external movement, it often means something greater is growing beneath the surface. Seeds grow in silence, foundations are built in private, and preparation happens away from applause. This is the hidden work of God. The chosen must learn to value the quiet seasons because those are the times when heaven deposits the blueprints for the future. If you despise the stillness, you'll miss the instructions that are being whispered there. The Spirit is calling you to sharpen your discernment. That's the key to navigating this hour. Discernment isn't about suspicion or intellect, it's about alignment. It's the ability to recognize God's presence even when it's disguised as stillness or delay. Many are looking for lightning, but God is moving in subtle shifts, small promptings, and quiet confirmations. You'll feel it in the way your peace fluctuates. You'll sense it when your spirit feels stirred for no clear reason. Those are divine cues. When you start noticing patterns in your emotions, dreams, or thoughts, pay attention. Heaven is using those signals to guide you. There's a warning embedded in this word: be careful who you share your revelations with. Not everyone will understand what God is showing you in this season. Some will misinterpret it, others will try to talk you out of it, and a few might even resist it. That's why discernment is crucial. Some moves must remain hidden until the appointed time. The awakening inside you is sacred, and it's meant to mature quietly before it's revealed publicly. When Mary received a divine message, she pondered it in her heart. Some things are meant to be protected, not proclaimed. This is also a season of spiritual testing. Heaven is watching how you handle silence. When you can't hear God clearly, will you still trust Him? When there's no sign, no confirmation, and no visible progress, will your faith remain steady? The warning here is that impatience will cause many to move prematurely. They'll act out of fear instead of faith, and in doing so, they'll miss the timing of God's move. The awakening, however, will keep you steady. It will remind you that stillness isn't stagnation, it's strategy. God pauses movement in one area to prepare momentum in another. The chosen ones are being trained to interpret stillness as communication. Heaven often speaks through what doesn't happen just as much as through what does. The door that didn't open, the call that didn't come, the delay that frustrated you, all of it is part of divine orchestration. If you look closely, you'll see the pattern. God hides progress in pauses. The awakening within you will help you recognize that the waiting period isn't wasted time, it's sacred time. You are being aligned, adjusted, and attuned to heaven's rhythm so that when the move of God accelerates, you won't be caught off balance. This divine warning is also a call to purity. When heaven begins to move quietly, deception increases loudly. False voices rise up, pretending to carry revelation but only spreading confusion. That's why the chosen ones must test every spirit. Don't accept every message that claims to be from God. Measure it by peace, by truth, by alignment with the Word. The awakening gives you spiritual filters, and when something isn't from God, your spirit will immediately know. That discomfort isn't negativity, it's discernment. Honor it. The stillness before Thursday is like the calm before a great unveiling. Heaven is positioning those who have been faithful in obscurity. Those who didn't quit in the silence are about to see the manifestation of what they prayed for. But this final stretch requires extreme sensitivity. Don't ignore the quiet pull to rest, to pray, or to step back from unnecessary noise. These impulses are heaven's way of protecting your focus. You are being prepared to recognize the first ripple of divine movement when it begins. The warning is not to be fearful, it's to be ready. This is the awakening of hearing hearts. God is restoring your ability to sense Him beyond words, beyond logic, beyond sight. What He's about to do won't make sense to everyone, but those tuned to the Spirit will recognize His fingerprint immediately. They'll feel the shift before others see it. Heaven hides its greatest moves in stillness so that only the faithful, the watchful, and the obedient can see what's really happening. Thursday marks a turning point. Obedience and spiritual awareness will determine who steps into favor and who misses the divine timing. The days leading up to it may have felt strange, heavy with spiritual energy, filled with moments of silence and restlessness, as if heaven itself has been whispering, "Prepare." That's because this is not an ordinary day approaching. It's a moment that divides the watchers from the wanderers, the awakened from the unaware. The chosen ones have been feeling it deep in their spirit, a pull to slow down, a conviction to realign, a quiet sense that something unseen is shifting behind the veil. This is a divine setup. Heaven is positioning hearts and testing obedience before the next door opens. Every instruction, every prompting, every delay right now is not random, it's a carefully placed marker guiding you toward destiny's exact coordinates. Obedience in this season will carry more weight than ever before. There are moments when God's favor is unlocked not by prayer alone but by movement, by acting on what you've already been told. The Spirit has been speaking through subtle signs, repeated dreams, small nudges in your heart that you couldn't shake. These are not coincidences, they are invitations to trust. Heaven is releasing blueprints, but only those who obey will receive the manifestation. The next level of your life will not come by chance, it will come by response. The ones who hear and act will move into divine timing with precision. The ones who hesitate, question, or delay may find themselves watching opportunities pass by that were meant for them. Divine timing is delicate, and heaven operates with precision. Every moment has a spiritual pulse, and when you move in sync with that rhythm, doors open without struggle. But when you ignore the timing, even a good thing can turn into a burden. That's why discernment is essential now. Thursday is not just a date, it's a symbol of transition, a divine checkpoint that marks the end of hesitation and the beginning of obedience. The Spirit is saying, move with me, not ahead of me, and not behind me. Many have prayed for breakthrough, but breakthrough often looks like an instruction that tests your trust. It might be a call to release something you've been holding onto or to step into something you feel unprepared for. Whatever it is, obedience will be the key that unlocks what's waiting beyond the threshold. You may have noticed that things around you are beginning to rearrange themselves without your control. Certain relationships are fading, opportunities are shifting, and what once felt stable is suddenly shaking. That's because heaven is adjusting your environment to match your next assignment. Divine timing demands divine order, and anything out of alignment cannot stay. This process may feel uncomfortable, but it's necessary. God never calls you to a new level while allowing you to remain surrounded by old energy. As Thursday approaches, heaven is clearing your path, removing noise, distractions, and attachments that would delay your obedience. The shaking is not punishment, it's preparation. This is also a time when spiritual awareness will become your greatest compass. You cannot rely solely on what makes sense, you must rely on what gives peace. Peace is heaven's confirmation. The chosen ones will find that their spirit becomes highly sensitive during this period, able to discern shifts before they manifest, able to sense when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move and when to wait. That sensitivity is not a burden, it's a gift. The Spirit is fine-tuning your discernment because the next stage of your journey will require a sharper ear and a quieter heart. You'll need to recognize when something looks good but isn't God. You'll need to sense when the enemy disguises distraction as opportunity. Awareness will protect you when logic cannot. There's also a divine exchange taking place. Those who obey will step into accelerated favor. Things that seemed stuck for months or years will suddenly begin to move. Doors that were closed will open, but not because you forced them, because you waited until heaven's hand turned the key. That's what divine timing feels like. It's effortless when you're aligned. The Spirit is preparing to elevate those who have been faithful in the hidden places, those who didn't quit when nothing made sense. Your obedience in the dark is about to be rewarded in the light. The favor that's coming is not random, it's the fruit of alignment. But there's also a warning woven into this word. Some will miss what's meant for them because they mistake delay for denial. They'll grow impatient, act out of fear, and step outside of timing. When you move without heaven's signal, you may end up in places that look promising but carry hidden traps. That's why Thursday's transition is so critical. It's not just about what's being released, but about who's ready to receive it. God doesn't bless movement, He blesses obedience. The chosen will wait until they feel the divine now, and when that moment comes, they'll know it deep in their spirit. The atmosphere around you may feel tense because your next level is spiritually charged. Heaven is aligning pieces that your eyes can't yet see. People are being moved, situations are being shifted, and unseen doors are being unlocked, all to meet you at the intersection of faith and timing. If you can remain patient, pure, and perceptive, you will walk into that intersection and find that everything suddenly fits. Every unanswered prayer, every delay, every season of confusion will make sense in an instant. That's what happens when divine timing meets divine obedience. It turns waiting into wisdom and struggle into strength. This Thursday is more than another sunrise, it's a spiritual reset. Heaven is resetting priorities, aligning hearts, and positioning the faithful for favor. For the chosen ones who have been weary but still trusting, this is heaven's reminder that your obedience has not gone unnoticed. The shift you've been sensing is real, and it's working in your favor. What you do in this moment of stillness will determine the momentum of your next season. Stay alert. Stay humble. Stay obedient. When heaven gives the signal, move without hesitation, for the window of favor is opening right before you. The divine clock is ticking, not in fear but in fulfillment. Thursday will separate those who hear from those who ignore, those who move with heaven from those who move with haste. The ones who are spiritually aware, tuned into the voice of the Spirit, will find themselves stepping into supernatural alignment, right place, right time, right grace. Heaven's timing is perfect, but it requires your cooperation. This is your call to trust the rhythm of heaven, to move in obedience, and to listen with your heart more than your mind. Because when the moment comes, when heaven whispers now, you'll know that everything you waited for, everything you endured, was leading to this divine turning point. The chosen ones who obey will not just enter a new day, they'll enter a new dimension of purpose, peace, and favor, and they'll know that heaven's timing never fails.